Hello again, and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and we're going to continue on another topic for our little mini series. Now, to recap, I got an interesting email by a new subscriber and a new person to Prepping Altogether. And they asked because they are a single mom that just kind of moved into their own place and was trying to do things and realized that they didn't have the tools needed for the job and put that together with preparedness and ask what would be a list of tools that you would need in an SHTF. And while responding, it dawned on me that that's a pretty big list depending on what we're talking about. And so we've already made a couple of videos for this, and today we're going to do our next installment on it. If you haven't seen the first ones, I'd highly encourage you to go check that out. At the end of the video should be in the cards right here. You can just click on that and watch all those, and we'll do today's. And so for today's, we're going to be covering two things, kind of three, but you'll see what I mean here in a moment. So today we're going to start off with gardening tools because if we're in an SHTF situation, that means that all of the stores like Walmarts and things like that have probably been ransacked a long time ago, and you're going to depend on yourself for your own food. And so some of the tools that you are going to need is going to start off with the shovel. You are going to need a shovel. Now, depending on you and things that you're going to be doing, whether it's going to be a rounded shovel or it's going to be a flat shovel. There's different tools for different jobs. Uh, you're going to have to kind of pick. If you can have one of each, that would probably be superb. But with financial and different other things, some people, they just don't have the room, the space, the money, all that. I get it. But I would definitely recommend to get a shovel. Probably more of the rounded would probably be best in my opinion. But again, at least having a shovel is going to make it much easier when you are gardening. Next is going to be the trusty hoe. When you are working in your garden, if you already are a gardener, you know how much a hoe really helps the workload. If you have never gardened, you've never broke ground, then a shovel and a hoe is really going to be your best friend, getting everything broke up and getting everything prepared so that way you can start working in the dirt. Along with that is going to be the next one, which is going to be a rake. Now, when it comes to things like a rake, uh, you have to make sure that you get a pretty decent one. When it comes to those, there's a lot of them that are flimsy plastic, and those are for leaves. And we're not going after leaves. You're going to be going after a lot of compacted soil. You're probably going to have different things in that, like stones and rocks and other things. And those plastic ones are just not going to hold up. And so you're going to probably try your best to get a more heavy duty, sturdier rake. Now, the next thing that I'm going to include is going to be some sort of a twine. You could use string, you could use jute, you could use paracord and all that. I prefer twine. That's just my humble opinion and my preference. But you would want it so that way you can do a thing of being able to stake off areas. You can use it as separation so that way you know that when you garden, this is tomatoes, this is potatoes, and all that. And for some of the people, I'm going to answer this now. Well, if you can't tell a potato plant from a tomato plant, well, when they all start, popping up, you just planted, uh, that little tiny green thing poking up for a new gardener, they have no idea what it is. And so being able to stake it off little by little, they'll have a much better chance when they're out gardening. So being able to have twine to not only do things like that, but to be able to hold things up and secure them. So if you have something that is a vining type of plant, being able to have twine so that way the vines have something to go on as a structure wise, as well as being able to tie up some of the plants. So maybe you're doing tomatoes and you just go out and you get some stakes, or you get some tree branches or whatever, and put that into the ground. Now you have twine to be able to secure your plant. Next is going to be probably everybody's garden best friend, which is the hand trowel. So, though, if you don't know what that is the little handheld shovel, if you will. That is going to do most of your work. That is going to be where you are down on the ground. You're working the soil. That's probably what you're going to use to dig your holes. So that way you can either put seed straight into the ground, or if you are going to start them indoors and take them out for transplanting, that garden trowel or that hand trowel is going to really make the workload a lot better for you. If you don't have a garden trowel, if you have never gardened ever in your life, get a garden trowel. Trust me, once you have one, you're probably going to end up picking them up. You don't have to go buy brand new of any of this stuff. You can go to flea markets, thrift stores, yard sales. You can go just about anywhere and get most of this stuff as secondhand things, and just check them over like anything. Make sure that they look good, they feel good, that they're not brittle, broken, rusting away, things like that, and you'll be just fine. Next thing I'm going to put on the list is going to be a set of shears. Now, you can call them choppers or pruning tools, or anything along those lines, but you're going to need shears. Now, shears are going to come in a variety of shapes, colors, sizes, price points, and things like that. For the purpose of gardening, you're not going to want really, really big shears unless you are getting something along the lines of really big bushes, or maybe even fruit bearing trees, if you're really trying to maintain something along those lines. For your average garden that you're going to do in the backyard, something kind of like a little overpaired or oversized pair of scissors is going to be what you would need. Uh, Now, chances are you could use scissors, but when you start getting into some of the other things, shears are going to be a lot better. That is why I included shears in this, because you're going to have to be able to prune and take care of all of the plants and things that you are growing. Next is going to be some sort of a watering can. Chances are, if you have a small backyard garden, or if you're setting one up for SHTF, you are probably not into commercialized irrigation. So you're going to probably be manually watering a lot of things. So you're going to have some sort of container that you can water. Now, you don't have to have the actual watering can. Just a 5 gallon bucket that you can control to be able to water. I mean, any sort of container that will hold to where you can water is going to work. Now, yes, watering can's going to make it easier, but you don't necessarily have to have that. Uh, Next is going to be some sort of transportation. So you're going to need some sort of a bucket, a basket, a garden cart, something along those lines. And that is going to be to and from. You're going to have something in order to carry your tools and supplies out to your garden. Utilize it. It'll help take your tools and things back so you properly put them back in their place. You're not just leaving everything out in the ground and letting them uh, get damaged, accidentally stepped on. It can cause, not only pain for you, but injury. I'm sure we've all seen the little cartoons where somebody steps on a hoe and gets smacked in the face. And we don't want that to happen. So, something to where it'll help you take your tools and put them back where they belong after you're done. Not to mention, it will help you take supplies from an area. So if you have compost, or you're doing something like that, you can carry compost out. As well as when it comes harvest time, you can carry your crops in so you can process what you have grown, which also brings me into remember your PPE. So, gloves would probably be a good thing. I am one of the people that I love the feeling of dirt, and so I hardly ever wear gloves when I'm out and about in my garden. Now, in an SHTF, I may end up changing my mind on that just because you never know what you're going to get into. You get something up underneath a fingernail, you get an infection. Remember, there's no urgent care or anything along those lines. And to needlessly hurt yourself in an SHTF situation is a bad idea. So, that brings me into one of the things I just spoke about, which is composting. Now, you can do this in a variety of ways. You can make your own, and making your own is actually pretty simple, even if you're not handy, by using a couple of pieces of scrap wood or even just getting some old pallets and different things. There's plenty of different places online, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of videos on how to make your own composting. Uh, and I would highly encourage you to go check that out. I am up in the air. I will eventually make one. I'm not entirely sure how soon or whatnot, I will definitely be making composting videos. Now, keep in mind, composting and it's a great idea. Okay, not only is compost great for your garden, but you're basically turning waste products into a value product. You're taking what you would normally throw away, and remember, in SHTF you have no trash pickup, and so you're going to have to figure out what to do with all that waste. And if you can take that said waste and actually turn it into something valued, then it's not technically waste anymore. And so I would highly encourage you, if you don't know what composting is or you don't have one, at least look into it, learn about it, so that way, and when the inevitable time comes, you're not like, okay, I think I need some compost, but I don't even know what to do, what to put in there, anything along those lines. So at least look into it, get some literature, tuck it away, so that way when the time comes, you are a little bit better prepared. Now, as I've said, you can make your own, but they do make store bought ones. You can go buy, anything that is a commercialized composter. There's trade offs to it, though. Most of the ones that I have seen, they're very small compared to what you can make with 3 pallets. Uh, but the trade off is, if you make your own, you can make it much bigger, thus creating a lot more compost, but it's going to be more time and labor to turn that compost. And so when you are turning it, the store bought ones are usually, a lot of the ones I see nowadays, they're on a stand, they have a little handle. Every 2 days or so, you go out there and you just give it a rotate, so that way you're turning your compost. uh, if you just got a big pile in between some pallets, you still have to turn that compost. FYI, a pitchfork will probably be your best friend for turning that compost rather than a shovel or anything like that. But it can be done. I've even seen people do it just by hand without tools. I would definitely say get tools for it, but again, just me. Now, the next thing that I want to get into besides gardening is going to be cleaning tools. And so things like rags, towels, and sponges are going to probably be a primary for you. Yes, you can grow your own loofahs. You can look into that for yourself. I will probably never do a video on growing your own loofah, but to be able to have rags, towels, sponges, things like that, to be able to clean is going to be a great idea. Now, remember, as we go through cleaning, we're not trying to win the most spotless house award. We're an SHTF, okay? Things have collapsed. Society has collapsed. You are trying to keep it hygienically clean, so that way you're not getting diseases, illnesses, things like that. You are just trying to keep as much dirt, dust, debris, and things like that out. We're not trying to make a surgery room. With that being said, things like cleaning solutions. Now, whether this is store bought like bleach, vinegar, and things like that, or whether they are homemade, there's plenty of videos again on making homemade cleaning solutions. When you're cleaning things, going to probably need, something else besides just wiping it down with a rag or a wet rag or whatever. And so I would look into what you can stock up on or what you can make yourself. We've already in past videos have talked about the broom and the dustpan. And so that's going to be one that everybody, doesn't matter, you should have a broom and a dustpan. Now, keep in mind, if we're talking long-term SHTF, we're talking, everything's down, you're probably not going to use the fuel and the generator and things like that that you may have in order to turn on your vacuum cleaner. Most modern houses are wall-to-wall carpeting, and without power, it's probably going to be next to impossible to keep your carpets clean. Those of you that do have hardwood, most of you would probably have rugs. Those will still need to be cleaned. Things like an old tennis racket really work well for going out and beating the rugs, getting all of the dirt and things like that out of them. And then keep in mind, too, that you're going to also need to clean some of this stuff. So when we're talking about rags and towels and whatnot, you're going to have to use those to clean, but you're going to need to clean those as well as things that you're wearing, PPE like gloves, things like that. And so an off-grid washing machine or even the old time washing board. Those are great ideas to have. There's lots of different ways to make your own. People sell them online all the time. It's going to be based on your financial means on whether you buy one, build one, anything along those lines. Uh, we'll see on the video. I've been asked before. We will look into it and see if I can do anything to help out on that. But FYI, something that you can use as a drying line would be a great thing to have. I've seen people where they show off a off-grid washing machine, and then they don't have anywhere but laying it out on something dirty to dry it out, which I guess negates washing it altogether. Which kind of comes back around. If you're doing all of that washing, you're going to need clean water and a way to store it. Keep in mind, this doesn't have to be drinkable water, it just has to be clean water. And so you can do this beforehand. You can get water at least filtered a little bit so that way it is clean, clear water, and you can store it away, and that way it's already prepared for when you're ready to start using it to clean. So the last thing, though, that I'm going to do, because I waited this far into the video, remember that your firearms are also tools, and so you will need cleaning kits for it as well. Now, there's plenty of store-bought things. A lot of the things that you will need, whether it is, the little patches and things like that, uh, a lot of those are cheap. You can buy them in bulk. They're lightweight. They're easy to store. You can do something along those lines, but you need to make sure that if you buy, one of the commercialized cleaning kits, that you have a way to restock those supplies or a way to, come up with a way that you have something reusable, something like a bore snake. As long as you keep it clean and you keep it maintained, you really don't have to buy too much. Uh, when it comes to your traditional things where you're putting patches down or anything along those lines, uh, you're only going to use those patches for so long because they're going to get so much sediment and other things in them that you'll get it. You'll get it. So I don't want to get too much into the firearms one because that's not what this video is about, but just wanted to remind you that firearms are a tool and they will need cleaned just like any other tool that we have. So if you made it to this far in the video, guess what? You rock. I appreciate you for spending a little bit of your time with me. I hope this helps out for the person who asked the question and for anybody else that may have this sort of question. Let me know how I did. Did I forget anything in the gardening or cleaning section? Did it help you in any way? Let me know down. So far, these videos, I think people are starting to become receptive to it, and they're giving a little bit of their own insight, because this is a video to get you to think. I'm not going to go through and list off manufacturers and tell you to buy a certain product. And I'm not trying to put 1,000% of everything. I want to give you a good, 80% guideline and leave it open so that way you can participate in and go, hey, what about this? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, with that, again, thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me. I really, really appreciate you so much because without you, I'm just staring into a screen talking to myself. And so it brings value to know that there is somebody on the other end watching. With that, I'm going to say I hope you have a great day and a blessed day. And I'm going to tell you to stay tuned because there is definitely more information to come. And with that, please remember above all else, remember to remain united because we're all prepping in this together.